Hello, wonderful listeners, and welcome to Boomy and the Ham, the podcast where our sports conversations will make you feel like you are losing brain cells. I'm Ham, your host, and I'm thrilled to have you join us for another amazing episode of Boomy and the Ham. And here we go. Welcome back, everybody. It's here. We finally made it through the grind. We didn't grind, we gave up, but we're back. It is officially football season, and we are so excited for you to go on this journey with us. Today we are going to be breaking down fantasy football. We're going to be breaking down, and I think we're going to do that every week, maybe some stardom situms, um, which could go probably really awful. We're going to be talking about player contracts. We're going to be talking about some preseason predictions and insights. Um, this is what the podcast was for. This is a football podcast, and we are finally here to talk about football. Um, we're also going to be doing, to cap it off, kind of each of us are going to give our top five wide receivers of all time. Should we do top five, Boomy, or top 10?
You can do top five because there's going to be a probably decent amount of just to make sure like there's no overlap. But are we going? Are we going? Well, we'll get there eventually. I'll ask that question later. Like,
Okay, so let's jump right into it. Let's just first off go with football. We are officially 8 days away. Bears Texans Hall of Fame game. I have a rock
what a
hard.
shitty game.
I am rock hard. I am torqued. I don't
Hell yeah.
only I know it's gonna kind of ruin it because I think Caleb Williams is probably gonna play like, I don't know.
2 drives, if that.
Yeah, two drives, and then they're gonna be like, we've seen all we need. Like we're moving on. But
Well, he's got to make sure his nails are good, too. So fine.
yeah, he's gonna paint bear down on him. It's gonna be fucking
Ugh,
sick.
God.
Um, but dude, I know this is like such a Bears fandom thing to do, but
Mm.
I'm gonna say it anyways because it's how big of a fucking loser I am. I've never been more excited for the start of a season.
Oh
Yeah,
boy,
I know. It's
man! If this doesn't scream September 11th, 2023, then oh
yeah,
boy,
yeah. It is.
oh boy.
It
This
is.
is this is flashback, dude.
Yeah,
I remember talking to my brother about last year too, and how excited I was. Like I'd never been more excited for a Jet season in my life.
and
And
then
four fucking plays, my
4 plays.
God.
He didn't even complete a pass.
He only moved the chains on a penalty. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
God.
The
Yeah.
highlight was him running out super fucking sick with the American flag.
Oh yeah, dude. That was one of the best memes.
Yeah.
Was Aaron Rodgers' New York Jet highlight videos.
And that was
The
it.
flag.
um, but I let's just talk about I guess preseason, and I think kind of what we're expecting to see from our teams. Could we do that? Is that something we can all do?
Goddamn right we can.
So for the Bears, I think I have three things that I want to see. I want to see, first and foremost, I think it is protection of Caleb Williams. I want the offensive line to be essentially the Great Wall of China. Like, I don't want I want Caleb Williams to be able to maneuver in the pocket. I want to see it not collapsing. I don't want to see Caleb Williams on the ground. Like, that is number one for me. I want Caleb Williams upright in the pocket and allowing him to go through his progressions that Justin Fields didn't have the opportunity to do. Um,
Tall,
what?
the tall order.
I mean, I guessed. Um, I just, I, is it a tall order though? Like,
I mean, that's definitely the expectation. Anytime you get a, let's call him highly coveted first round pick, especially at the quarterback position, you obviously always want to keep them upright. And
Yeah,
I mean, even going past the rookie stage of it, any quarterback really, you don't want to see get hit
I
because
don't think it's a
insert
tall ask.
insert New York Jets.
Yeah, I don't think it's a tall ask. It's a generic ask. Like it's like, well, yeah, no shit, Garrett. Like you want to keep your fucking quarterback upright. But what I mean by that is we need him to gain a lot of confidence this year. I don't think he's lacking in it. I just think the first thing we could do is get him time in the pocket, which he didn't have at USC. If that could be the immediate, like the first change we say, like, hey, you have time to throw the ball. You don't have to play hero ball that he did in USC. I think he's going to develop into a very good pure passer, like an Aaron Rodgers, right? Like I hate Aaron Rodgers, but that dude can sling the ball, and that's what I want to see. Um, number two,
Yeah,
number two, I want to see what Booker does. He's our new defensive end we got out of Kansas, and because I was talking to Jesse about this yesterday, and as crazy as it is to say, I think on both on I think honestly like my I think the weakest point we have on the team is the defensive line because Javon Dexter is still an unknown. We have Montez Sweat and we have Booker, and then I think who's homeboy who plays nose tackle? Fuck, I can't remember his name. Um, he came from the Raiders. Uh, Andrew Billings. We have Andrew Billings. He's just a brick wall, but I think that is our biggest hole in our team is the defensive line aside from Montez Sweat. And so if Booker can develop, he was handpicked by the guy who picked Max Crosby, and I'm not going to sit here and say that he's a Max Crosby, but like I told Jesse, if he could give us a 50% of what Max Crosby can do, that's a pretty fucking good defensive end on the other side of Montez Sweat, if you ask me.
yeah. I mean, Max Crosby's a beast. I mean,
I mean, what was
that
what was
dude.
Max Crosby's stats last year? I'll look. You finish your
Uh,
thought. I'll look it up.
well, I was gonna say Max Crosby, like he's like that, call it blue collar kind of dude where he straps on the fucking thing and he's giving 110% no matter what.
Yeah.
And like he's obviously got technique and skill, but he is just motor, dude. That dude
Yep.
is just fucking relentless.
Yep.
And I mean, if your guy ends up, like you said, going half as that's a solid player,
Yeah.
right? That is a
Exactly. Because
solid player, and that's what
uh,
you need on a defense. You need solid players to go along with your stars.
yep.
And
Max Crosby
and
in 23 was 90 combined tackles, um, 35 assists, 14 and a half sacks, no
I was gonna
picks,
say 60.
but 14 and a half. So if this kid could come in and get you 8, that that just frees up Montez Sweat. Like
Yeah,
that is really good. Um, on the opposite side, like in 23, Montez Sweat ended up with 12 and a half sacks. Um, you know, 55 combined tackles, 19 assists. So, um, he's I he's that's pretty fucking good stats. Like if you have a guy who's getting you 13 and a guy who's getting you 8, that's that's fucking awesome in my opinion. So
yeah. I mean, anytime you can get, not your star putting up 8 sacks. I mean,
yeah.
not
Hmm.
really something you can complain about. I mean, I think it's a fucking great stat to have, and kind of like that compliment to your Batman to your Robin, or your Robin to your Batman, or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Especially in a rookie position, right? Like being able to like learn from Montez Sweat, learning all the the swim moves and the bull rushing and the tricks of the trade to add to your tool belt, is going to be really beneficial for that rookie.
Yep. Yeah, and
Um,
I mean, anytime you have that veteran presence, really any position, but it's got to be the right guy, right? Like you can't
yeah,
just have the guy who's like, like what Brian Hoyer did to Johnny Manziel in Cleveland, where Hoyer wanted the job. He wasn't like, oh, like I'm gonna teach this kid the ropes. He basically fucked him up, right?
yeah,
So you got to have that good character in place to say, hey, Rook, I'm gonna teach you how to be a star in this fucking game. You
yep,
know, well, and look what happened with Mahomes and Alex Smith. I mean, who knows what actually happened behind the scenes, whether it was Alex Smith or not, but having a veteran ahead of him and watching, having Andy Reid, of course, and Alex Smith kind of like saying, "Hey, Pat, like this is how I throw. This is what I'm looking at. This is my read. This is mine. This is what we're looking at. This is what this play is designed for."
yeah.
And he's probably and based on Pat Mahomes' fucking drive, he was probably like, you know, taking notes like, "Oh shit, dude, this is fucking
Well, I mean,
sick.
the
Like,
the
this is how
perfect
you do
the perfect example of it is Green Bay quarterbacks.
it." Yeah,
Like I
I,
mean,
I think I think you mean aging Jet quarterback. I think.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Aging Jet and then soon to be Vikings quarterbacks. Um, but you could go
Oh, he
from
goes to Minnesota.
Bart Starr to Brett Favre to
Rogers.
Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love. Like I mean, it was pretty much back to back to back to back really
Yeah, it
fucking good
was
quarterbacks,
like
and they just
three
developed
three quarterbacks in like 40 years or something like that.
yeah, and I understand that like it's such a different skill position because like the Packers have figured it out. The Packers have just cracked the code for developing amazing quarterbacks. Because I don't understand the hate because I love football. I'm a huge Bears fan, and I honestly do hate when the Packers beat our asses. But it is insanity to me that people sit there and will say, I need to see more from Jordan Love. Do I think he should be the highest paid player in the NFL? No. I do think he should be north of $45 million a year.
I mean,
But
Daniel Jones is getting 40,
yeah,
so literally,
exactly, right?
literally anybody's left toe should be getting
Yeah.
40 million.
It, did you see that pass from Daniel Jones today?
I don't. Oh
Did
my
you
god.
see that?
I can say being a Jet fan sucks, but if I'm a Giant fan right now,
It's a
I'm like
nightmare.
borderline. I'm borderline tying a noose right now.
Dude,
Like
why
it's bad.
why wouldn't they put in old fucking Italian stallion in?
Oh, DeVito,
Yeah, not Danny DeVito.
DeVito, Tommy,
Tommy DeVito.
Danny
Danny
DeVito at quarterback.
DeVito.
That would be a fucking sight, dude. Shout out to Danny DeVito
Yeah,
if you
yeah, dude.
if you ever listen to this and want to play quarterback for the New York Giants.
They'll probably let you. If you ever want to come on
Yeah,
this podcast too, you're more than welcome because he looks like a guy who knows ball.
yeah.
But yeah, it's like why is Daniel Jones? I know this is a side tangent. We'll get back to the fucking main broadcast in a second, but why in the fuck is Daniel Jones playing quarterback?
Honestly, the Giants are the like. I mean, usually everyone jumps on like the fucking Jets or the Raiders with Jamarcus Russell and like all these stupid picks that made, but they reached so high for Daniel Jones. And to be honest, like he had a decent season the year he was due for his contract, but it was all through Saquon. Like they ran the ball so good. And granted, he probably could have asked for a lot more, and I'm sure they probably got him at somewhat of a discount. But
Mm-hmm.
he had one good year in like the 4 or 5 years of that first contract. So I'm like, why are you giving this guy all this money and locking him in after one good season? Like they
Yeah.
should have just made like a 2 year extension and gave him his 40-45 million. And then they would have been in good shape for this year where there was a lot of quarterbacks and they probably could have snagged one
Mm-hmm.
in the first round. And, they could have fucking probably got Michael Penix and had him sit behind Daniel Jones for a little bit and learn instead of him going to Atlanta. Like I don't understand. And their front office is usually great. Like, I mean, think of all the years where they just drafted, the best player available, right? Everyone was like,
Yeah.
oh, why would they draft a pass rusher? They already have Strahan.
Well, they
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 don't need
drafted
Jason
Malik
Pierre-Paul.
Neighbors, right? And it's
Right. Well,
like
that was a good pick, but it's going to be hard when you don't
it's
have a
a
fucking
good pick if
quarterback
you
to
have
get him the
somebody to
ball.
fuck. Yeah, exactly. Like it's a great pick if you
Yeah.
have somebody who could get in the ball. That's the problem
But yeah,
with New York.
all the years of the Giants in their first rounds at least, like they always went best player available. Who gives a shit about needs? we want best player available, and they snagged the fucking Jason Pierre-Paul when they already had like a dominant defensive line. So it's like what happened between then and now that you're doing stupid shit like the Malik Neighbors pick is a good pick, but
Mm-hmm.
you also have to get a quarterback to get him the fucking ball, right? You can't just have him block on the outside and be like, oh yeah, this is why you're a first round pick. Like you could have got some dude from like Iowa State in the seventh round to do that. Like
Yeah. Well, and the thing is too
yeah.
is they literally went out and they what was their pick? There wasn't their first pick last year Jalen Hyatt.
No. Who was there? Shit. Last year wasn't it the pass rusher? Or was that 2 years ago?
That was 2 years
Thibodeau?
ago.
That was 2 years ago. Who the fuck was last year? Oh, they were low last year.
Oh yeah, because they
Because they
went.
made
But
they
yeah,
made the playoffs.
that's why I'm saying I think they went Jalen Hyatt.
Um, maybe I can't think of it off the top of my head,
Um, Hang on, I'm gonna look this up. I
but
um. Oh no,
I
Jalen
mean,
Hyatt was so it went Deontay Banks, John Michael Schmitz, and then Jalen Hyatt. Jalen Hyatt was round three, which is actually crazy because I think Jalen Hyatt is fucking really good.
yeah,
Um, but I just, yeah, I just don't. The You have Jalen Hyatt and Deontay Johnson didn't go there. He went to Jacksonville. So they have another decent wide receiver. Um, but you can't take a top three, like the second best wide receiver in the draft when like Michael Penix is still there, when um JJ McCarthy's still there. Like
yeah.
you need
And that's
to.
but that's the thing. The Giants are so are in such a bad position now overall because they have so many holes to fill, right? And picking Neighbors is a good pick, but the problem is you're gonna have to probably wait another year to add more of those pieces together,
Mhm.
right? Like next year, if I'm the Giants, like I'm looking at free agent quarterbacks and a rookie, like
Yeah.
boom. And I'm also like saying, okay, my first round pick is probably, depending how high it is probably going to be a lineman or trading and getting
Yeah.
more picks in that first round to grab another lineman because their
Mhm.
line is atrocious. Like if there's one bullet the Jets have dodged, it was drafting Evan Neal or not drafting Evan Neal. Evan
Yeah.
Neal's fucking awful.
Mhm.
Like I was so hyped on him. I'm like, dude, this guy's gonna be sick. Like it's Bama, it's running back. Like he's a good lineman. That dude looks like a fucking idiot. Like oh my, I'm like I know playing the line is hard. Like line in general is hard, but playing an NFL line like that's something else, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I get it. It's hard, but you're a professional, right? But I don't know. It's just they have a lot of holes to fill. So picking Neighbors is like you know adding one tiny sprinkle on the shit Sunday that is the New York Giants.
Yeah. Mhm. Um. So I mean, and side tangent. The Giants fucking suck, but at
That was facts.
yeah, at the end of the day, the the development of the quarterback is number one. The
Absolutely.
development of Booker is like number two, and that defensive line, getting them dialed in is like number three or number two. And number three for me is I want to see I want to see aggressiveness from the coaching staff. I want to see shots down the field, right? All off season, all I've heard, and I told Jesse this, and it's made me nervous. This is the most highly talked about Bears I've ever heard about in my entire life. Like you last year, right? Because you guys had what? Randall Cobb, Garrett Wilson, Aaron Rodgers,
Lazard,
yeah, Lazard. Like you guys,
a coming back Brees Hall.
Brees Hall, yep, healthy, like I mean, he fucking was amazing last year. So a really good Brees Hall, and then a top three defense, right? You know exactly what I'm going through now. Pretty much the
Yep.
same thing. Like, okay, we have Keenan Allen, we have DeAndre Swift, we have Khalil Herbert, we have Roshan Johnson, we have Cole Kmet, Rome Odunze, DJ Moore. Um, the team is fucking is stacked. And so if we don't do anything with it, if we don't have big plays and are really aggressive, and it's just this stupid ass screen pass thing that we had with Luke Getzky, I'm gonna fucking lose my mind.
Yeah. So the difference I think the Bears have with what, the Jets were is the Jets are a young team, but the guy running the show was a seasoned veteran who's won a Super Bowl, right? So the Bears are locked and loaded, but they are also semi in a rebuilding, right? So
Mm-hmm.
they're that's a big difference. I just want to like kind of get out there. But I mean, definitely the Bears have improved their roster. They are locked and they're going to go as far as Caleb Williams can take them. And we saw it last year with Stroud that a rookie can go, right?
Mm-hmm.
He can get you to where you need to go. But I 100% agree with you. I think the Bears need to be aggressive,
Yeah.
but they also cannot lose sight of the development of Caleb Williams, if that kind of makes
Yeah.
sense,
No, for sure.
right?
That's exactly. Yeah.
Because there's nothing more I hate than having a guy who can push the ball down the field and possibly get you into the end zone consistently, but
Mm-hmm.
all they do is run stupid wide receiver screens or 3 yard fucking outs or whatever, like just short passes. Like I get it, it works sometimes, right? But at some point, the defenses, especially with a rookie quarterback, they're gonna test Caleb Williams, right? They're gonna say, "Hey, Rook, come fucking get it." Right? We're
Mm-hmm.
gonna we're gonna fucking man you up and maybe have one safety over the top, but like we're gonna say, hey, beat us, motherfucker, like beat us, and that's what the Bears have to understand is that they're gonna make Caleb Williams push the ball down the field. They're gonna make Caleb Williams try and beat them, so they got to be very cautious with it because if that dude starts off and throws, one in his first 3 games, like one touchdown, 10 picks, it's going to be the head coach's fucking, he's going to be gone,
Yeah.
right?
No,
But
for
you're not
sure.
developing him right, and then then you're going to see the carousel that you saw with Justin Fields, where it's going to and like even Zach Wilson, you
Mitch
saw,
Trubisky. I mean, this shit,
yeah,
this
you're going to see
carousel,
all.
it goes back to fucking Jay Cutler, dude.
Well, yeah,
Like,
I was talking more about the offensive coordinator aspect of
that's
it, right?
exactly what I'm saying. This is what happens. Draft
Yeah,
resume drafts quarterback. This is Bears in a nutshell for everybody. Bears hire coach. Coaches don't like current quarterback they have. Draft new quarterback. New quarterback doesn't work out. Fire coaching staff. Bring in new coaching staff. Coaching staff doesn't like current quarterback they have. Get new
yeah,
quarterback. So on and so forth, time and time again for the past fucking
right.
like 15 years is what
I
it feels
mean,
like.
the Bears probably have the longer track record, but that's pretty much NFL across the board. And the thing that you kind of like combine into one big step, which also has the mini steps, is the firing of those other coaches, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes you see the quarterbacks coach, sometimes you see offensive coordinator, sometimes you see this guy, this guy, this guy, and sometimes you even see the replacement in there for a year,
Well, and the thing
right?
is
Like
too,
it,
dude, is
it, it
like
blows my mind.
I would if it was me and like let's just say this like okay, and we'll get I mean, all right. My the Bears having a successful season is winning a playoff game. I will say that right now. I don't think we settle
I,
for
I think a
anything else.
successful season is just making.
No, I don't.
Making, I think, would be great for
I
you.
don't know.
I mean, that's
Not
great that you have high hopes,
no,
but
it's
I
but
mean,
that's not really high hopes. Look what CJ Stroud did with the Texans with a worse roster than what we have.
true. I
Right?
mean,
In
that's
in
right.
a tougher division, in a tougher conference.
Yeah, but you're riding that high that he has, like that hangover from
But you
from the
can't sit
previous year.
here and tell me that Caleb Williams is generational and the best prospect we've seen since Andrew Luck. Sure, I understand he's a rookie. I get that. But this dude has had nothing but success. The Bears had the number one pick, and we were far from the worst team in the draft. By the way, we had the ninth pick, and we got him another weapon. The defense is
I
a
agree.
the defense is a top three defense. You want to know my top three defenses? Fucking 49ers, Jets, and Bears. Those are my top three defenses in the league. So you
I
have a
mean,
kid
yes,
who's coming in to what is the most friendly thing for a rookie quarterback?
good run game and a tight end.
No. Well, yes. I mean, good players, of course, but the best thing for a rookie quarterback is a good defense.
Okay,
Hey,
sure, yeah.
good fella, here, little guy. We're not gonna fucking let them score. You don't have to go out there and put up 35 points like Justin Fields did and fucking Mitch Trubisky did, right? So Caleb, like to me, sure, making the playoffs is a yeah, we made the playoffs. I want a playoff win. It's been 15 fucking years, and this is the most loaded roster I can that we've had as far as I can remember when we had Jay Cutler, Brandon Marshall, Alshon Jeffrey, and Matt Forte. It's pretty much the same fucking thing, and we were going NFC Championship games. I understand Jay Cutler was a vet and he's my fucking goat, but we like the Bears have to win a playoff game. Those are the Caleb Williams. We need to protect him. We need to get him confidence and develop him correctly. We need to develop the defensive line and especially Booker because I think drafting him where we did, he can be a very good player in the league. And he maybe not be the star-studded name, the T.J. Watt or Miles Garrett, but he can be a Demarcus Lawrence or a fuck what's that guy's Ogdabu from the Dolphins, like something like that, like playing second fiddle, which is fine. Like I would love if we had somebody like that on the other side. Um, and third is confidence in the team. Like we need to go out there and not play scared football. We need to not go out there and play, screen pass this and screen pass that. I want to see shots downfield. I want to see Caleb Williams climbing the pocket, and I want us to expand the field essentially. Um, what are your three big things you're looking for the Jets this preseason?
So the number one thing, and it kind of piggybacks off you to a degree, is health. And I
Mm-hmm.
say health not
Mm-hmm.
just for Aaron Rodgers. I'm talking about all the stars, right? Because there is a lot of young talent on this New York Jets roster between the secondary, the freaking defensive line, the linebackers, right? There's a lot of star power on this team,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they're all under contract. So I want to see them all last 17 weeks. I
Mm-hmm.
want to see it, right? Like maybe onesie, twosie, because it's football. I get it. Injuries happen, shit happens, but these guys got to stay healthy, and that goes across the board, right? I mean, the main focus is Rodgers, and obviously the offensive line because it's a good line, but it's an aging line.
Mm-hmm.
When we saw what happened last year when fucking Dwayne Brown couldn't block one dude, and
Hey,
bye bye season.
speaking of GOAT Jets quarterbacks, did you see what Mark Sanchez said about the Bears?
What?
He said that they remind him a lot of the 2010 Jets.
Wait, he said that.
The Bears remind him this year's Bears remind him of the 2010 Jets that made it to the conference championship game. He also said he wouldn't be shocked if they started 7-2, which is what I told Jesse earlier today. I said I think by the our bye week, which is week 6, I think we could be 4-1, and I think we could easily be, you know, 10-3. So which would be, on track for 7-2, somewhere around that. I think by week 10 we could be 8-3 or 8. Sorry, 8-2 or 7-3 is what I was telling
I mean,
Jesse. So.
it's possible. I mean, the Bears defense is good, right? You have weapons, and you know, coaching is, I'll put it at middle of the pack, I would think. And you have a quote unquote generational quarterback, right?
Mhm.
So it's definitely possible. I mean, it's definitely giving those vibes, but the question is, will they do it? Right. And that's the big question with the Bears. They have the pieces there. Will they pull the trigger and make that push in the NFC North? That is top to bottom, not bad, right? I mean, the Lions seem to be the team that's back. Green Bay is Green Bay. I mean, the Vikings, despite losing seasons, they always somehow are tough out, right? Like at least at least for some part of the season. But you know, I mean, the things are there, right? The pieces
Mm-hmm.
are there for the Bears. They're definitely there. Now, will they be the 2010, 2009 Jets? Maybe. I
Yeah,
don't. I don't think it. I don't think it's there. I mean, I think the Jets got stupid lucky in '09
hey,
and
I will
2010.
I will take that.
2010. No, no, no. I'm saying the Jets got stupid lucky in 2009 because they literally the week before the season ended, the Jets needed like five teams to lose and beat the Colts, and they literally like the stars aligned. Everybody lost, and they were winning against the Colts, and then they pulled Peyton Manning at the end because they didn't want to get him hurt. So, and then they played the next week. They played Cincinnati, and they wiped the floor with Cincinnati because their defense is too good. But right, so they got lucky in '09. 2010, they just loaded up the roster with every thing that they could and said, "Hey, this is our one moment," and they blew it. Right, they didn't beat Pittsburgh that year, but so the Jets got lucky that those 2 years, I think. But well, maybe not 2010, but '09 they definitely got lucky.
Yeah.
Um, but yes, the Bears can. I think they could be, but I don't see them having that kind of success. I think they could make the playoffs and maybe win a playoff game. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to the Jets. Health across the board, number one. Number two is getting this Hassan Reddick shit off the Jets plate. Like I am so tired of seeing this Hassan Reddick holdout bullshit. Like the Jets are so stupid. They literally let Bryce Huff go for to Philly
Mm-hmm.
for the amount of money he probably wanted with the Jets, and they let him walk. And instead, they trade for Hassan Reddick, knowing he was going to hold out.
Yeah.
Knowing he was going to hold out. So that means you traded for him and said, "Hey, we will get work on your deal eventually." Right?
Mm-hmm.
So now you got to throw money at him to keep him happy or trade him. And if you trade him, you just literally just lost the thing for nothing. Like you lost a fucking good. He's still got some juice in him, so he's still a good player. But you know, it's I just want the Jets to clear all the bullshit, and now there's more bullshit coming because now all the young guys want their money,
Yep.
and
Well, and the
rightfully
and the wide
so.
receiver market is so fucked right now.
Right, like Garrett Wilson's already talking about he wants money,
Well, and
and
like if I mean, don't get me wrong, if Aaron Rodgers can give him like a, you know, 13, 1,500 yard season, handful of touchdowns, like a
yeah,
respectable season, that
no,
that dude's that dude's gonna
absolutely,
he's gonna command $20 million a year,
yes,
if not
absolutely,
more,
absolutely.
25. But like now the new 20 million is the 20 million is the new 30 million.
Right, and I think Garrett Wilson definitely has earned it because he's put up those numbers with Zach fucking Wilson as his quarterback, right?
Mhm.
So, like, it's definitely justified. Does he deserve Justin Jefferson money? No, because he hasn't put up those numbers. But does he deserve 20 to $25 million a year? Probably. I would probably pay him that, but it's not my money, right? And then you're gonna have to, Brees Hall. Brees Hall has literally been your workhorse fucking back, so he's gonna be coming due for money. Jermaine Johnson is going to be coming due for money in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Right, Sauce Gardner, right? You can't let Sauce go. You're going to have to
You
fiddle with all
can't.
this
No.
money. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
going to have to like the all the off season stuff is going to be a huge distraction,
Mhm.
and like I think most of them just need to. I don't want to say shut up and play, but kind of take a page off of what T Higgins is doing.
Mm-hmm.
in Cincy and accepts the franchise tag. Because if you think about it, I mean, even T. Higgins said in an interview, he said that's a lot of fucking money for 1 year, right?
Yeah, for
And I
sure.
could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's fully guaranteed.
It is. Yeah,
I
it
could be
is
wrong.
guaranteed.
Yeah,
No, it is.
yeah. So T. Higgins is getting 21.98 or whatever it is $1 million for 1 year,
And it's cool
right? Now,
because it's kind of like it kind of gives them a chance to have like a prove it year, right? Where like,
exactly.
okay, oh, you want more than $21 million? All right, well, we're gonna give you this guaranteed. You get all this money, and then guess what? Then it's on the team, right, to be like, okay, we're gambling now because if T Higgins goes off, let's just say Jamar Chase went out for the whole season, right? God
Yeah,
forbid, because
and T.
Jamar Chase
Higgins,
being,
if T. Higgins,
but T Higgins goes out and he gets like 20 touchdowns and fucking, I don't know, 1,800 yard. Like, let's just say he goes nuclear. Well, then he's gonna be like, I want Justin Jefferson money, and you're like, well, fuck, we could have paid him 22
yes,
million or 24 million, and now we have to pay him 35.
right, and that's the problem that comes with the salary cap is you got to make choices what pieces, and that's why the Cowboys are screwed right now.
Mm-hmm.
Is because they didn't pay Dak early enough, and they would have probably saved money in the long run. And now they're in this spot where they got to pay. They basically approach like the Jets are approaching Cowboys situation,
Mm-hmm.
and unfortunately, that some of the casualties of that will probably be guys like C.J. Mosley, who's like when he's on the field, he's a great middle linebacker, and he's one of the heart and soul of that defense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then you might lose some role players like a Michael Carter, who's like the nickel quarter. Um, he's he goes, oh, and not even mention the other corner, DJ Reed, right? Like so, like there's a lot of money that has to be sprinkled around, and not to mention Aaron Rodgers. No one knows what the hell he's going to be doing. He said he'd play 2 more years, but we'll see about that. So there's a lot of questions with money in this offseason, and I just want the Jets to figure it out, and especially with Hassan Reddick, because that's like if they have Hassan Reddick on the field, like the Jets will be good as far as
Mm-hmm.
pass rushing, right? Like Hassan Reddick is great,
Yeah.
but they just need to figure this shit out, right? And just get it done, right? Like just figure it out, whatever it takes. If you have, even if it's a private conversation with Brees and Sauce and Garrett on the side, just like, yo, okay, here's the deal. You have 2 more years on your contract, right? I know you want money, but if you do good this year, we'll work out an extension in the off season, right? Like if you put up X amount of numbers, X touchdowns, X whatever metric you want to do, you know, if if they do that and just have the side conversation, but we will give you your extension next year, right? Just so they can go back to their families and stuff. Like, okay, we're gonna handle it, right? And just leave it there. And then next off season, you start, right? Like, all right, Garrett, you want money? Bruce, you want money? Let's get this shit done. All right,
Yeah,
we'll
the
work it out.
problem is they literally will never fucking do that. It is I want my money now because and I understand it. It's not guaranteed, right? Your next season ain't guaranteed.
Yes,
It's
yes,
it's a
I absolutely understand that.
but also we gotta you like that's why I think Tom Brady is like the GOAT, and I know you hate that as a Jets fan, but like that dude,
No, I agree. He is absolutely
he
is the goat.
he could have made
I
he could have made so much more money, and he always was like,
yes,
how can I take a pay cut just to win championships? Because
yes.
at the end of the
Words,
day, he'll probably end up being a billionaire. If he already
yeah,
isn't. I mean, he got what was that contract from ESPN to broadcast games like some fucking $350 million or something.
yeah. It was like I think it was like I don't know if it was 7 or 10 years, something like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, 350, $400 million, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm. And so it's
Yeah,
like
and
money's gonna come if you have the championships and the accolades, money is going to come, right?
yeah,
So
I mean, especially like the quarterback position, like they're going to be the ones making the most bank because they're probably are. I think so, but the most important position on that field,
hmm
right? Like you're not going to win without a quarterback, and I think that I mean I hated Tom Brady when he first came out. I'm not gonna lie, but towards the end, when you see all the stuff that he was doing, right, like spreading out. or spreading out his contract to make some salary cap moves and
Mhm.
taking pay cuts and doing this and doing that. You kind of like just realize, I mean, the dude is doing it the right way, right? Like, how much more money does Tom Brady need, even outside of his base contract, right?
Yeah.
Like he doesn't need $50 million probably, especially with his at the time supermodel wife that was also making probably
Billions of
30,
dollars.
40 million. Yeah,
Oh
it was
yeah.
like fucking 30, $40 million a year too.
Yeah.
So it's like I get it where the money comes from, and to a degree, these players gotta like obviously get the big contract first, but then once you get past that first big contract, that's when you start proving your loyalties, right? Like,
Mhm.
okay, do I do I want to stay loyal to the Jets? Do I want to stay loyal to the Bears?
Yep.
And if I do, how much am I willing to sacrifice to stay with the Bears and keep this defense, keep this offense, keep this coaching staff here so that we
Mhm.
can build something strong,
Yeah, because like
right?
look at how like much turnover there is even in the head coach realm.
Uh-huh.
Like I feel like head coaches literally they have a they have a fucking 3 year window, really.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Especially if you're one of those ones that draft a quarterback like your first year,
Mhm.
you and the quarterback are tied together. If that quarterback goes, you're gone.
Yep.
Like it's the sad thing of the NFL is it's a win now mentality, and that's how it
Mhm.
should be, right? But rebuilds don't last more than a year or two.
Yep.
So it's like if you're inheriting a shitty team, you're putting all your eggs in the quarterback rookie basket, and it sucks. And I actually applaud the Bengals for dealing or sticking with Marvin Lewis for all those years, even like
Yeah.
not winning, even Pittsburgh with Mike Tomlin. Like, I mean, Tomlin has won one Super Bowl, lost one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but also it is just like the definition of mediocre, really, you know?
Right, and it's just that culture that they build, right? And like I think Mike Tomlin's a great coach, and to be honest, if he would have, I think anything resembling a good team ever,
Yeah.
I think I think the Steelers could have possibly won maybe another two Super Bowl, maybe been more dominant over those years instead of like the 9-8s or the when they played 16 games like the 9-7s,
Yep.
uh, the years that they had. So I don't know. It's just like I think the coaches are always to blame so quick
Mhm.
that that's why they have such a short lifespan.
Yep.
And then, I mean, thank God they like depending on what kind of coach they are, they can find another job relatively quick and stay in the NFL. So it's not like they're gone forever.
Mhm.
But I mean, it just sucks because there's so many good coaches that just inherit just awful situations.
Literally, just the worst. I mean,
You know,
I was surprised Bill Belichick didn't go, you know.
I mean, I think I don't know if he's just done, dude. I think he just did 20 years in New England or whatever it was, and just like, dude, I don't have it in me, bro.
Mhm.
Because I actually heard something that Kyle Shanahan actually offered
Yep.
him any position on his coaching staff that he
Yep.
wanted. Like, he's like, yo, whatever position you want, you fucking got it. I want you. And he was just like, no.
Yeah, no, fuck
And the
off.
most, like, probably in the most Bill Belichick way, too. Like, no.
Yeah,
And just, like, walked away.
which is crazy to me. Um, alrighty. Well, that's a pretty good preseason preview. I think our kind of expectations and what we had some side tangents. But we could kind of continue the conversation on contracts if we want with the
Yeah.
holdouts we're seeing pretty much all over the league. CeeDee Lamb's holding out. Brandon Ayuk's
Yep.
holding out.
Yep.
Those are some big. Those are two big ones. What quarterback did you say was holding out? Oh,
It's I don't
Tua.
he's he's
Yeah,
not holding out, but Tua
yeah.
I think has just expressed that he wants his new deal. And according to McDaniel and all the Miami people, they basically said like it's not like a problem, but
Mhm.
it's like just hasn't been done yet. So like I mean, I didn't find the article that I read before, so I could have just been bullshitting that, but um, yeah. So like, it's just in the talks, and I think they're just like kind of taking it day by day and just slowly working to it. So that's not really, I don't think, a great one to talk about, but it's just something that's like kind of like blinking in the corner of your eye, like, hey, this could be a problem maybe next year or at some point. But they want to get a deal done. They want to keep Tua in Miami, which I don't know why they would do that.
I don't either. I'm not the biggest Tua fan. I think he has a very weak arm.
Yeah, I think he has a weak arm. I think he's decently accurate, and I think he just has two of the fucking three or four fastest fucking receivers and a great offensive mind that can utilize nothing but speed. Because if you look at Miami's roster from last year, it was
Mm-hmm.
all speed. Like they're there, just not like that whole offense was just hey 99 speed go
Yeah.
like. But I mean, as far as the other holdouts, I mean, Brandon Ayuk we knew was going to be a problem.
CeeDee
You
Lamb we
know,
knew, but the Cowboys are just
yeah.
such idiots because it just seems like they're going to. It just seems like the Cowboys are gonna pay Dak $60 million, and then they have to basically make a choice of do we want to keep CeeDee Lamb or do we want to keep Micah Parsons? Because I don't think you can have all three of those guys on the,
Oh no, you absolutely can't.
you know.
But you think they're going to pay Dak 60 mil?
Yeah, I do.
I don't think they will. I think this is his last year as a Cowboy, unless he wins a Super Bowl. If he wins a Super Bowl, they'll pay him 60 mil.
You think
But
so? I don't. I think Jerry just
no,
loves him so much. And you know why? I think it's because the Cowboys fans are just so delusional and they like are so ride or die that like Dak is essentially a god to them, right? And so the like, oh, I could pay this guy $60 million and look how much money I'm gonna get back in jersey sales and commercials and swag and yada 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 because of Dak and how popular he is with their fan base. I think they would do it. Like I honestly told Jesse this 3 years ago. I don't think Jerry Jones is there to win a Super Bowl. I think he is like, we are going to be really good in the regular season and get our hype up and create a shit ton of revenue and pack out the crowd. And then I think we are done. I honestly think there is like some conspiracy that Jerry Jones is just like a regular season fucking money merchant and he is there to win regular season games. He is there to sell a product, and then once that's done, he's like, "I'm ready to go to Cancun. We're fucking losing. I'm gonna be just good enough to get us into the divisional round. We'll win the wild card game, or we'll have a bye, but we ain't getting to the NFC Championship."
yeah, I mean that definitely is a good take, and I think Jerry Jones's number one priority has and always will be money.
Mhm.
I mean, considering he bought the Cowboys for like what, like $2 million or $1 million, and now it's like the
Yeah.
richest franchise in all of sports. So
Mhm.
I get it that you want to maintain your wallet, but the Cowboys were fine until he became the GM.
Yeah.
But as soon as he became the GM, everything went completely tits up.
Because it used to be
And
who it was
fuck, what was his name?
Jim
Uh,
Jimmy, right?
fuck, I can't remember the dude's name. But anyway, yeah. So like he's been like kind of like that, but he also is like so reckless with the money too. Like he
Mhm.
doesn't think about anything. Like think about like the Zeke deal. I
Mhm.
mean, Zeke got what, like 20 or 15 million, whatever the hell
So
he got.
much money.
Yeah, they threw it. And granted, he did great, but most of that was because his offensive line was so fucking good.
Yep.
Like that offensive line, like that's why Dak was so good because his offensive line was so good. So I think he puts all these pieces in the wrong, or puts all his money in the wrong like pot. Right? He put it
Mhm.
in Zeke instead of putting it in the line or whoever, whatever else piece he wanted to keep. That was like the main reason why they were winning. Right. And like that's why, like I said, Dak was so good was because his line gave him time. They had a great running game with Dak or Zeke.
Mhm.
Um, and they had veteran wide receivers, and I think Witten was still there, so for like a good safety blanket as tight end.
Yep.
So I mean, there's so many things wrong with the Cowboys as far as like what they spend money on, and I don't. I think it's starting to come out that Jerry Jones only cares about money.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
I think you're gonna see now is he's gonna try and save that money, especially with a quarterback like Dak, because he's like what? He's 35 now or 34,
Dak is,
so
I
he's up
think,
there.
34. I'm pretty sure.
So like he's up there, and at this point, you've got to realize you're not going to win a Super Bowl with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe keep the other pieces along because if Parsons goes, the defense is going to have another major hole,
Yep.
right? And you're and like CD is great, like phenomenal, but if you throw money at him, do you trust Cooper Rush or whoever the backup quarterback is to at least keep you relevant to maybe draft a quarterback or have some kind of rookie project? I mean, they still have Trey Lance, I guess. So
I would like to see Trey
maybe,
Lance. I would like to see Trey Lance get a chance.
yeah.
Wouldn't
But
you?
then they also, I mean, I would definitely. I mean, I wish no harm upon anyone except Zach Wilson. So, I mean, I would definitely like to see him because it's like that underdog story, and I think the Niners were just dumb enough to reach so high on him and give up a lot for him, especially during the COVID years,
Yep.
which that ruined a lot of people's thing. I get it was like a shitty situation for scouting and games weren't real kind of thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
I get it, but there's just so much that was wrong with that year, and a lot of people went all in on stuff that they shouldn't have gone all in, aka Zach Wilson.
Yep.
But
Justin
um,
Fields. Well, Justin Fields,
I
we
mean,
were fine. That was a good
yeah,
pick.
Justin Fields was probably a good pick at the time
I think he was the
because
best
at least
prospect coming out of college that year. I think he's better than Trevor Lawrence. I don't understand.
yeah,
I don't understand what the fuck is the hype with Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence is a whole nother. I said it from the beginning because that was when the Jets were projected to get that number one overall pick, and every or most Jet fans I was talking to were saying, "Hey, like this guy's going to be great. This guy's a generational talent." And I'm like, "How can you say?" They say this every year.
Mm-hmm.
Like the only generational talent that I've seen in the NFL's quarterback has been Andrew Luck. Like in my time frame, like the only generational one I've seen is Andrew Luck, and he made the Colts relevant with a shitty roster and getting his ass beat every fucking day
Yeah.
to the point where he retired after 8 years. Like, dude, that to me is generational talent. Is I guess you could say Mahomes too, but Mahomes kind of had a better situation too, so I wouldn't call that. I I know if I say that Mahomes isn't a generation talent, every single human being is going to fucking verbally assault me.
Yeah.
So he's definitely a great talent, but
I
as
think
far as
it's I don't yeah, I don't
coming
you
out generational
hey,
talent, I don't think Mahomes
this
is
is
a
a
generational talent.
this is a safe space, buddy. You
My
can
safe space,
you can say it.
dude. Don't touch my no square.
No, you could say it. He's not
No,
generational.
I don't think I don't think he was a generational talent coming out.
No,
I
I
don't.
don't either. Like when we I will say that draft because everybody reminds me like every week, oh, you guys drafted Mitch Trubisky
Trubisky.
over the one I will admit I wasn't like we need to draft Patrick Mahomes,
Yep.
but I was like, and I don't know how this would have gone. Um, Deshaun Watson was a person. Deshaun Watson was the best quarterback coming out of college.
Yep.
So that's who I think the Bears should have drafted. And when they called Mitch Trubisky's stupid small fucking face name up there on that stage, I was like, I was just pissed. Christian McCaffrey went behind him. That draft was actually so fucking stupid loaded. Um,
Yep.
the only person we
It
weren't
was.
able to get was Miles Garrett.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah, it was
Yeah.
a
I mean, I was super happy when the Jets went after Jamal Adams.
Yep.
I was like, wow, what a great pick. And boy, that dude is a whole other fucking problem. But he got us 2 first round picks, so I was okay with that.
Yeah, you
But
guys
yeah,
at
I
least
mean that's the thing. That's the thing is I like Trevor Lawrence was not a generational talent to me. Like
no,
he was
me
a good
either.
player and he was tall and he had the body frame and
Mhm.
the arm strength and all the tangibles. But guess who else did? Fucking Jamarcus Russell also
Yeah.
had that shit,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And look what he turned out. Like you can't just like it's more than that. You can't just keep calling the best quarterback or the best player a generational
Do you
talent.
think
Like
Caleb
that's not
Williams
what
is generational or no?
time will tell. But I don't think he is.
Wow.
I honestly don't. I don't think he is only because his last year that he had at USC. Now, granted, his team was bad.
I
I
was gonna
get it.
say, dude, did you see
I
that
I I
team?
I get it. I get it. His team was bad, and to be honest, that's kind of where I'm looking at is can you keep your team like real good despite having shitty rosters? Because that's what's going to happen in
I
the
mean,
NFL,
he
right? Like
still
you're not
had
going to have
like
a great team.
3,800 yards. Like the USC was still relevant even with that dog shit
Yeah,
team.
I mean, I agree, but to me, if he would have been generational, he would have gotten them to at least closer to a bowl game or not bowl game, college football playoff, like closer to
Yeah.
it, maybe. Like I get it. Like I do. I think he's going to be good. Yes, I think he's going to be good eventually with the right coaching, and as long as nothing bad happens, I think he's going to be good. But it's just like this word generational talent just like fucking
I mean,
grinds
they
my
they
gears,
so
dude.
here this was their schedule. San Jose they beat, Nevada they beat, Stanford they beat, USC they beat, Colorado they beat, Arizona they beat. Then they lost to Notre Dame, which they were ranked 14 at the time. Then they
That is
played
true.
Utah, which was good. They lost that game. They beat California. Then they played fucking Washington and Oregon back to back. Then they played UCLA and US and then Louisville in the Holiday Bowl. Now, I'm not going to sit here and like I could give a fuck less about USC athletics. The only reason why I watched them last year was because of Caleb Williams. But
Mm-hmm.
also like that back stretch, like you're playing Utah, Notre Dame, fucking Washington and Oregon back to back to back to back. That is a
I,
tough stretch.
I get it.
And with his team, that is that I
I
know.
get it. Yeah, but that's just
But I
my
agree.
thought
I think we,
on
we, we do the generational thing very loosely, right?
yeah,
Um,
much like you with goat.
well, I my goat is just Tom Brady, Tiger Woods, and LeBron James. I don't know what you.
Really, you didn't just say that Jay Cutler was your goat?
No, that was a joke. He's my Bears goat.
Yeah, I know. I'm just
So,
fucking with you. But I don't even remember what the hell where we were.
um, we were talking about we were talking about generational talents.
Oh yeah.
But I agree with you. Generational gets thrown around loosely.
Mm-hmm.
That's why my expectations are so high with Caleb Williams. Because like I said, if people are going to say he's generational, then he best be coming into the league and winning us games immediately.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like if you're getting called a generational talent,
The best thing
you're
since
obviously
Andrew Luck.
right. You're going to be called a generational talent. You're going to most likely be number one overall pick, if not number two, right? But like you have to make an impact, and that team that you're going to is going to probably more than likely be shitty still,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's like you have to at least turn them in the right direction,
Yep.
right? You can't just like continue the 7 and 10s, the fucking 8 and 9s. Like you can't just continue that shit. You have to flip the script like CJ Stroud did, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
now, I don't think CJ Stroud is a generational talent, but what he did is what a generation of talent should be doing their first year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not making a playoff, maybe not winning a playoff game, maybe not going to an AFC or NFC championship game, but you have to at least start the turnaround
Yep.
in the path towards the right way.
Yep. Um. I mean, this is, dude. I love football season. Look at, we literally covered
one or two things that
one or
said
two
we were going to.
things, and we've been talking for an hour.
We haven't even touched fantasy yet.
Maybe we'll do that next week. We'll do fantasy preview next week.
Hmm.
But let's just cap this off. I think this was awesome, and I am so fucking excited that football's back because we're just gonna start releasing some bangers. We're going back to our normal schedule. And
Oh
actually
yeah.
for the listeners, our schedule is going to change in a very good way. Once the regular season starts, we are going to try our hardest. It may not be on like a Monday, Wednesday, or a Tuesday, Thursday, but we are going to try to release 2 episodes every week. Um, one before the Sunday slate, and then one before the Thursday slate, so we could kind of do a preview and like post breakdown of each week. So that is the plan coming up. But let's do our top 5 wide receivers of all time. And
Okay, so
you can
so
do
when
your full list first. We're gonna have the same guys, but that's fine. Or
so
maybe some of them.
are we going greatest of all time
Your
favorite?
goats. This is your greatest of all time
Okay.
list. Whatever you
Okay, so
consider it.
not favorite. Okay.
No,
That's okay.
no.
That 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 definitely changes my list.
Okay.
Okay, so I mean, number one for me, or actually, I'll start at five. So let's see, would he be number five? Actually, I'll start top down. I'll go number one. I mean, I think it's fucking obvious as fuck. You can't not put Jerry Rice as number one.
Yeah. I agree.
You can't. I mean, the fucking sheer numbers that that guy put up, and even the amount of numbers he put up after he turned 40 is insane, right? Like I love seeing that stat pop up. Like, Tom Brady is second in receiving yards after the age of 40 at 6.
hmm
Jerry Rice is first with 2,100 and whatever it was. I'm just like, god damn, like that guy was just dominant. You know, just great, great, great fucking wide receiver. Number two, um, I'm torn between two people.
hmm
I'm gonna go with Randy Moss as my second. I mean, you could probably make the argument for a lot of older guys who, have the numbers like the old school, black and white type days,
hmm
who probably have numbers up there and that were, dominant for their time. But Randy Moss was a whole nother specimen. I mean, the sheer size of that dude, like he made Randall Cunningham and Dante Culpepper like a household name because all they had to do was just throw the ball up and he was coming down with it. And another big stat I love with him is what was it, Thanksgiving against
Yeah, that is
what was it, the
literally
Cowboys?
great. Yeah, the greatest stat
When it was
line
like
ever.
3 catches, 150 something yards, and 3 touchdowns. Like,
hmm
I don't know that guy. If that guy's not in at the very least your top three, like if you have him at, I'm just saying in general to all the listeners out there, if he is outside your four, you don't know football, right? I mean, that guy is phenomenal, just top fucking dog.
hmm
Um, Number three was kind of the other one. I put Terrell Owens at three.
Okay.
I love T.O. Obviously, got to watch him towards the middle to the end of his career. Um, I mean, but when you look at that guy is a fucking a specimen, dude. He is a specimen. That
hmm
guy could he like looking at him running routes now. He probably could still play if he wanted to. I
Yeah,
don't think he
I
would
agree.
because the hits would probably be a lot harder on him, especially because he's like 50.
Yeah.
But um, so I think To you got to put up there. Um, See, now this is where it gets hard after my top three, is because I want to put guys up there that probably won't be like, I guess I don't want to say worthy, but like I guess number four I would probably number four I put Larry Fitz,
Really at
right?
4. Wow. Okay.
I can't think of any other ones that are sticking out to me off the top of my head. I mean, I'm probably missing some big names, honestly.
Wait, you had
And I
Wait, you had Jerry Rice, Randy Moss,
Jerry
Terrell
Rice, Randy
Owens,
Moss, T.O. Yeah,
and Larry Fitzgerald.
I feel like there's somebody I'm missing that I just can't think of off the top of my head.
Okay, what's your number
And I
five?
guarantee you, yeah. So Larry, I like because his longevity, his hands. I think he was great.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Wish he would have had a little bit more successful quarterback play and got himself a ring, but great. And number five, I'm torn between. I think I'm going to go Marvin Harrison on it and not Calvin Johnson.
Wow.
And honorable mention Calvin, and that was only because if Calvin would have stayed in the lead a little longer and not been so hurt because of how bad Detroit was, he'd be higher on the list. And I love Calvin Johnson, dude. I love him, but I mean Harrison had the longevity, and he had a great quarterback to go with him, and he was great up until the end of it, and even past basically like taught Reggie Wayne how to be good, right? In
Yeah.
his time in Indy. I know there's probably a name I'm missing, and I'm gonna be so upset when you say it. But all off the top of my dome right now,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, those are the five. And honestly, I can be swaying to probably sneak Calvin Johnson up to five, but I mean, Harrison was great. Harrison was absolutely fucking great.
Yeah. Um. So I
Let's see what you got.
am going to match you at number one. I will
Okay,
do Jerry Rice. I
good pick.
will do. Okay. This
If
is this is like when you
you say Brandon Marshall, I'm gonna kick your ass.
um DJ Moore.
No,
um
Roman Dunze, bro.
yeah. Um I know this is a hot take.
Go ahead. This is why we're here.
Calvin Johnson's my number two.
See now,
I
like as much
I
as
think
a.
hear me out.
Mhm.
I look at it, of course the quarterback is involved, but I'm talking the pure wide receiver position to go up and get the ball, the you can't stop me, I dare you to guard me or try to guard me. To me, there we have never seen somebody like Calvin Johnson ever. We
Agreed.
never will. And just that statement there is enough for me to be like, yep, he's my number two. You know why? Because Randy Moss is three, and he Randy we compare everybody to Randy Moss. Justin Jefferson,
Hmm.
Jamar Chase, um, not really like Tyreek Hill, but Devonte Adams. Like, there's so many Randy Moss comparisons now that it's like, don't get me wrong, I fucking love all five of these guys and on this list, and I would go to battle for them. But like,
Hmm.
if Calvin Johnson had won a Super Bowl, I'm not even kidding you. If he had just been able to win a Super Bowl, he would be my number one wide receiver ever. Like, even over Jerry Rice. Just pure athletic ability and pure wide receiver skill. The competition was
Yeah.
better. The defenses are better. The scheming's better. Better athletic programs, better um, medicine. Sports medicine is what I was trying to say with the athletic program. Calvin Johnson's he played, in my opinion, a better defensive era.
See, now as much as you were so hesitant to say that, this is a hot take, I don't think it's that much of a crazy,
Yeah,
right? Like maybe some people will say you have him too high, right? But all the points you made were absolutely correct, right? He was
yeah.
a freak of nature athlete.
You
He
couldn't
played
guard
on a
him.
shitty
You
yeah,
couldn't not
like
guard
he
him.
how many touchdowns did he catch on with like triple coverage,
Yeah,
right? Like
that's all. The answer is almost everyone, because you
yes,
had to. You
yes,
had to triple team him.
yes, absolutely. And that's the thing is why, as much as I would love to scream and yell at you, like, "Oh, you're wrong, you're stupid,"
Yeah.
right? Like all those were great points because he had great seasons. Granted, he had Matthew Stafford, but he was also on a very shitty team where they had to throw the ball a
Mm-hmm.
lot. So sure, you can make that argument all you want. but he still made ridiculous catches. He still put up consistent numbers, right? And he probably would have been a lot higher on the receiving list for yards if he would have stayed healthy or even decided to continue and like play his career, which he even I believe in like an interview recently he said he retired because the Lions were so shitty,
Yeah,
right?
no, that's
Like
exactly why. Like
because
he
he
was just
yeah,
breaking. He would like get hit, and he's like, I'm
yeah.
not getting
He's
up
like
as fast.
why am I why am I getting my ass pounded?
Mhm.
No no pun intended. But
Yeah.
why am I getting destroyed
Yep.
by a team for a Lions team that's going 1-15 or
Yep.
0-16 or he's like why am I doing this?
Yep.
So I mean he kind of had that Barry Sanders mentality, which like I said, great take. I think
Yep.
he's a little high on my list, but
Yep.
this is what debates are about, baby.
All right. My I don't know how you're gonna like my number four,
If you say Chris Carter, I'll kill you.
Antonio Brown.
You're a fucking idiot. That now I'm gonna yell at you.
Antonio Brown is my number four all time, and
Wait, now he
you
beats three.
know Randy Moss was three.
Oh, you said Moss. Okay, I
Antonio
have Moss
Brown is
here.
actually no. Okay, Terrell Owens is four. Antonio Brown is five. Because there, hear me out.
I'm listening.
I don't have to explain Terrell Owens. There was a period where Antonio fucking Brown was on pace to shatter everything, every fucking record in front of him. Um, I'm gonna look this up really quick because um, his his stats are fucking impressive. Like around the 2016. Um, so let's just take a snippet of 2013 to 2017. 2013, 1,500 yards. 2014, 1,700 yards. 2015, 1,834 yards. 2016, 1,300 yards. 2017, 1,500 and a half yards. Oh, touchdowns. Okay. Um, 8, 13, 10, 12, 9, 15. Like, prime Antonio Brown is fucking really good. And I think people forget about that. Like, he is really, really, really fucking good. And I have zero issue putting him in my top five. Zero issue. I will say like it's a toss up between him and Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald is Mr. Reliable, right? Like that is when you talk about the perfect wide receiver, like in terms of consistency and longevity. Who's going to be there? Who has a very high football IQ? Larry Fitzgerald is there. Was he the most athletic guy? No, right? Did he always end with the most yards and the the craziest highlight reels? No, but the dude has the craziest stat I think I've ever heard, where he has more tackles than he does have drop passes. So I mean,
Yeah,
it's Larry Fitzgerald could he's amazing. He's definitely right there, and I think to me, like, besides Jerry Rice, I think 2 through like 6, people could have a smorgasbord of different lists, and each one of them are pretty relevant.
yeah. I mean, my personal thing, I probably wouldn't have Antonio Brown that high. I would probably have him maybe top, I'd say maybe top 10 to 15 range, depending. I'd have to go through the list and analyze everything, right? And it's more than just stats, but I mean, yeah, this is why sports is great is because every receiver was different for every whatever reason they were, right? So it's like, Larry Fitzgerald was great because he lasted so long and his stats are incredible, right? Then you have Calvin Johnson, his athletic ability was insane. You know, Terrell Owens, Randy Moss was more of like dominance, right? Like there's a lot
Yeah.
of things that go into these lists. So it's like, can you debate him? Yes. should you get stupid mad and yell at everybody?
Mhm.
No.
Yeah.
Like I don't agree with you putting Antonio Brown above Larry or some of the other guys on this list that I'm looking at, but did he dominate in the years he was prime? Yeah. Did one shot by Vontez Burfict probably ruin his career?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, because ever since then he was fucking nuts, right? And if he was a little bit more mature and less of a basket case, he probably honestly could still be playing and maybe
I
close to shattering Jerry Rice's record or being number two on the list. Who knows, right? There's a lot of what ifs,
yeah.
but I mean, is it crazy to say that Antonio Brown was a great wide receiver? No.
No.
Was he a basket case? Yes.
Dude, it's another one, and I will say this, another one that is going to be, he's going to be there soon, is Mike Evans.
Oh yeah. I mean, the guy
If
hasn't
he
had a
continues
not
on,
a
what is
thousand
it?
yards.
Well, he's gonna tie it this year. He's gonna tie the record, 11. Same with Jerry Rice this year. And next year he's probably gonna fucking break it with 12. And if he just stays on pace with this for the next 3 years or something like that, he'll be top 7 in receiving touchdowns, like top 7 in every major category. So touchdowns, yards after catch. It's gonna be fucking nuts that we're witnessing. We got to witness. I didn't get to witness Jerry Rice, but all those other guys on my list we got to witness, and it's crazy to me that Mike Evans can be number 2 on the list very easily. Like
Yeah,
in in
he's
3
just got to keep
years.
his pace.
Yep.
Yeah,
And he has 2 Super Bowls. So I mean, pretty fucking good.
he has two.
Um or no,
No, he has.
one. He has one. You're right. Sorry. I don't know
Yeah, I was gonna
why.
say. I was like, when did he win the second one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why did I think?
Um.
Wait. I thought he was on another team, but he's been a Buck his whole career.
No, because he was. Yeah, he's been a buck, and he was with
And
Djibouti
that look at
before.
even how impressive that is
Yeah, with Jameis Winston.
with Jameis Winston. Like, well, actually, that's pretty good for yards, but anything else, it's
Yeah,
awful.
yeah.
Um, but I guess we are.
So before we wrap up, there's one wide receiver question I do want to ask you.
Oh God. Okay.
Who do you think is? It's not a bad question. It's kind of on the list. Who do you think is the most slept on wide receiver as far as like I don't know, like most like not talked about. You know what I mean?
Like
Like
now
obviously, like
or like all
no,
time?
just all time. Like someone who's like up there in numbers, right? Who's like you look at the top 20 to 25, like their
Mm-hmm.
name is there.
Yeah.
But, like you never hear them in the conversation of like greatest. You know what I mean? Because there's one name that I'm
That's
looking at this list, and there's one or two names that are sticking out to me,
that's
and I
tough, and
keep forgetting how great this guy is or was.
that's tough because like, man, that's a really good question. I and he's talked about not in the sense of being a very good wide receiver. I don't think. I think he's talked about
Mm-hmm.
for personality stuff. Chad Johnson
Okay.
is, in my opinion, he was very, very slept on. When he was in the league, he was good, very good. But um, just watching him route run and his hands, like he he was the definition of like 7-Eleven, right? Like he was always open because there could
Except
be,
with Revis.
except with Revis Island. But I mean, we know 90% of the world is covered by water. The other 10% is covered by Revis. So, um, uh, yeah, that's I've always loved Chad Ochocinco, and I think I I think he should be talked about in in the discussions of top 10, I think. And it's I know he was another person who was just on a shitty team. You know,
Yeah.
if he had been on the Patriots or the Colts, or the Steelers or the Packers, the list goes on. Have a good quarterback. He
Yeah.
he would be he would be up there and way higher in the numbers and probably would have a ring. Um,
Okay. So you went more slept on as far as skill wise,
hmm
as opposed to like stats.
yeah.
Okay, so that's not a bad choice because I agree. Like like I said, I would put him in my top maybe 15 to 20.
If we're going
But
stats, I'm gonna go Steve Largent.
okay, that would have been the third one I would have brought up.
Dude,
But
he has like
um,
he has like I want to say thir like
yep,
13 and a
yep,
half
say it,
thousand,
say it.
13,000 yards,
13,000. He
and
has
he has 100 touchdowns, right?
13,089, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and the only reason why I know that is because I like my For You page on TikTok has just been like people ranking wide
Hmm.
receivers, and so I just
Yep.
before this podcast I just did a deep dive and like he was basically the guy that Jerry Rice was breaking his records,
Yep.
you know.
Yep. Like that is definitely one of the guys. Wasn't thinking of him,
Mhm.
but definitely one of the guys that I would see. The two names that popped up to me, and they're both top 10 in yards, is Isaac Bruce
Oh
and
fuck.
Tim Brown.
Yeah, dude.
And
Isaac Bruce.
I was
Yeah.
leaning more towards Tim Brown because just he was just so reliable. Like Isaac Bruce only played 15 years. Tim Brown only played 16. Okay, so they
Only
played about the same
15
time.
years?
Well, I thought he was a lot less, honestly. I thought he
Dude,
was a lot less.
Isaac Bruce, I forgot about him. He was fucking
Yeah,
really good.
yeah, dude. So like,
And
I was looking at these stats, and I'm like,
he was a St. Louis Ram the whole time too, which I really like. Well, besides he ended his career where in like San Francisco or something,
yeah, he went somewhere his last year,
or
which no
San
one
Diego
cares
or
about
San
that.
Francisco, I can't remember.
Yeah, but yeah, like I was looking at that list, and I'm just like, why? Like every time you talk about go-to wide receivers,
Yeah.
Jerry Rice, Larry Fitz, T.O., Moss, like Harrison,
Mhm.
always those guys. The same like 5 to 6 names pop up for the most part,
Yeah.
but like Tim Brown and Isaac Bruce, like they never get talked about,
They don't. Yeah,
right?
I completely forgot about Isaac Bruce.
Yeah.
He's a candidate for top 10 though. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he
Oh,
has.
definitely.
I mean, he has 15,000 yards. Like,
Yeah.
that's insane.
Yeah, and he stayed with one team for his entire career. Like,
Yep.
my God, it's just one of those things I find hilarious of like how skill gets lost in the game
Yep.
because you didn't grow up watching them. You know what
Well,
I mean? Like,
that's why I didn't put Steve. I know who Steve Largent is. I didn't put him in
right,
my
right, and
top 10
it's just, yeah,
because of that,
yeah, and
right?
like for the most part, I
Oh,
watched a
dude,
lot of these
fuck.
guys play.
Okay, I have a better one than Chad Ochocinco now that we're on this topic.
Go for it.
Steve Smith.
That is also a great pick,
That's
and
a
I see his
fucking
name here too.
great pick. He's so fucking good. I forgot about
Yeah,
that. Damn,
yep.
dude,
That also is a great pick. That's what I'm saying. We can go
dude,
all day with
we could go all.
guys that are slept on, dude.
I'm not gonna. But Devonte Adams, he's very good. Justin Jefferson's making a case to be really fucking good. Torrey
Right.
Holt
They just
was
have to
also
finish
really
all the
fucking
stuff.
good.
Torrey
Um,
Holt, yes.
yeah. Uh,
I
dude,
mean, you can even make Anquan Bolden. I mean,
Anquan
Anquan
Bolden.
Bolden,
Yep. Yeah, dude. Like,
he got Joe Flacco his ring.
oh,
If it weren't
fucking
for Bolden,
Andre Johnson. How could we
yes.
we can't leave we can't talk about wide receivers without Andre Johnson, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, there's just so many fucking another fucking Des Bryant, you know? Like
Yep. Yep.
there's so many that we could just on and on and on. Just naming
Yeah.
name like the memes where it's like what do guys want? And it's like to sit around with drinking beer and naming random football players with my friends,
Absolutely.
you know?
Absolutely, dude. But
So,
yeah, I thought it was just a great way to cap off this list. Is that slept on guy
yeah, we're
that
gonna do so next week we're gonna do the same thing, but we're gonna do running backs.
all right.
So get your list ready. Mine
Hell yeah.
mine's gonna be so biased, but that's okay.
I already know who you're
Yeah,
I already know who you're going
we
with. I
already
already
got
know
it.
who you're going with.
I won't spoil it, but if you've been following the podcast, you know where this is gonna go.
Matt Forte.
Yeah. Yeah. Jordan Howard actually. Alrighty, dude.
Hell
Well,
yeah.
that was good.
The
It's
fridge.
yeah, the fridge. It feels good to be back. We're back,
Oh
dude.
yeah.
We're
Good thing
back.
we went a little bit higher on this one since we've
Yeah.
had a 2 week hiatus. But
Yeah. This is a good episode though, I think. Like we had we, like, we talked about three things, but it just felt like good conversation, and that's just the beauty of football. So,
yeah, baby.
all right, everybody. Well, we will see you next week as we will probably be recapping the Bears or previewing the Bears Texans, and then that following week we're gonna be on our 2-a-day schedule or 2-a-week
Yep,
schedule.
and
So,
adding a member to the Boomy and Ham family.
yep. So stay tuned, and we will see you guys later.